Good morning, Dexter. Thank you very much for joining us today at IGD. We really appreciate it. I'm very much looking forward to you talking to us about the subject of influencing.
Indeed. Thank you for inviting me to have this chat.
Absolute pleasure. So can you just tell me a little bit of background about yourself?
About me. A few years ago, more than I care to remember, I started in advertising. And I suppose that's when my love of words came about, with advertising. And then from advertising, I moved into property. I didn't like being an estate agent. I hated being an estate agent. I hated the duplicity of, getting a bid and saying, I've got a higher bid, will you up yours? But what I did like was matching a person's needs with the properties that I had. And I suppose it was the first life lesson that I learned, that when you understand somebody's emotional needs, then you can influence and persuade them. And then while I was still in property, a friend of mine said, I'd love you, knowing you do presentations and training, would you sell on QVC for me? So I said, sure. What's QVC? I didn't even know. And to show you how long ago it was, I was selling VHS recorders.
Oh, crumbs. So like VHS, Betamax.
All of that stuff. And I suppose that's where I learnt my second life lesson, that you're selling to an invisible audience there. So you need to know what their emotions, the emotional connection, how you make that emotional connection. So it's emotional needs and emotional connection. So emotion is the key to influencing and persuading. And that's where it's led me today. I work with various organisations like Dale Carnegie, where I was trained to be a trainer, and other organisations where understanding what people's motivations are is how you influence, persuade them to your point of view.
Thank you. And do you think that influencing is a skill that everybody in the workplace should need?
It's essential. Whether you're an executive or whether you're on the shop floor, whether you're selling a product or you're selling a concept, when you're selling yourself, we're all selling ourselves. At an interview you are. So to understand the key elements of influence and persuasion are absolutely essential.
I mean, influencing can be used in lots and lots of different ways throughout many different scenarios. But say, for example, if you know that you're going into an influencing situation and you're really, really nervous about it, what would your advice be?
We're all nervous. I'm nervous. I'm nervous having this chat with you. I'm certainly nervous when I'm standing in front of a large group and presenting to them. Nervousness is okay. We can afford to be nervous. If it's stultifying, then we need to find ways of reducing that nerves. And what I say is that I have a method, I call it the Moscow method, which is an acronym, and the first letter M is for mindset. Now, if our mindset is how do we look, am I going to make a fool of myself, how am I sounding, all of that, then the mindset is in the wrong place. The mindset should be, am I giving that audience of one or many the information they need to make a decision that I would like to persuade them to make. So that for me is absolutely key to reducing nerves. Let your focus be out there, delivering the information rather than how am I.
So you just mentioned about, some people might worry about, am I going to make a fool of myself, for example, which is obviously quite a natural feeling. Have you ever made any big mistakes that you regret?
All the time, continually. I suppose the key word, and I like being able to encapsulate things, is assumptions. So often we can go into a selling situation, or we can stand in front of our executive, and we can assume that what the information we're giving is what they need. So assumption will trip you up every time. And I remember a situation where I was presenting a seminar, and I asked this question. In fact, I stated this: there is no such thing as a unique selling point. And to illustrate it, I asked if there were any accountants in the audience. A couple of people put their hands up, and I said, what's your unique selling point? He said, customer service, we look after our clients, our attention to detail. So I asked the other accountant, do you do the same thing? Of course we do. No unique selling point. Point made. And then a hand goes up at the back of the room. I have a unique selling point. Yeah, what's that? We analyse moon rock. Yes, okay.
Okay.
Okay, hands up, I made a mistake. So that's a fun situation, but actually it tripped me up and I had to stop and think. So assumption will get you every time.
So you've never done that since?
No. Mind you, there aren't that many people analysing moon rocks.
This is a very good point, very good point. So I guess a real burning question, you must get it all the time. What's your number one top tip for influencing?
Apart from understanding people's emotional needs, which is absolutely key, be authentic. And also know your material. Authenticity comes from really being interested in other people. There's a Carnegie phrase which says, try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. When you do that, and you know that you're delivering information that's going to be helpful to you or to them, then you're being authentic. So that's my number one rule. Always be authentic, understand what people's needs are, and try as much as possible to fill that need.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Dexter, for joining us today. That's all we've got time for. And thank you very much to our viewers as well for joining. If you're interested in booking onto any of our training events, please do go onto our website. And also please have a look at our on-demand learning hub, where you'll find a selection of lots of different videos on different topics to help you upskill at your convenience. Thank you ever so much, Dexter.
My pleasure.